Aloha, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to another week of Trauma Recovery University. I'm your host, Athena Moberg, and with me in the green room is my amazing co-host, Bobby Parrish. And this week's topic is coping with new memories. Does everybody have new memories? What happens when you have new memories? Have you always remembered your entire childhood? Do you remember your childhood abuse in bits and pieces? Does it happen out of nowhere and hit you like a ninja trigger? Do you have memories when you watch a movie or a preview to a movie that happens to be triggering or perhaps violent in any way? Or do you have new memories when maybe perhaps out of nowhere you're walking down the aisle at Walmart and you smell something that reminds you of something? Or when do you have new memories? Perhaps you have always remembered your entire childhood and you've never had any repressed memories. So we're going to unpack all of this and talk about how it is natural and normal, whether you have always remembered your entire childhood or if you are having new memories and uncovering new memories, experiencing flashbacks, or wondering if your repressed memories are even real. Those are all very, very normal parts of recovery from childhood sexual abuse. So I want to welcome you if this is your first time joining us. We are so excited that you're here, and this is an interactive broadcast. Go to Twitter and tweet us using the hashtag #NoMoreShame. Tag myself, Athena Moberg, and tag my amazing partner, Bobby Parrish. Her Twitter is at Bobby L. Parrish. And we look forward to interacting with you. This is live Q&A. If you have any questions on the topic of repressed memories, recovering repressed memories, remembering new memories, coping with new memories from your childhood sexual abuse or even childhood abuse of any kind. So if you are listening on a podcast platform such as iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, SoundCloud, or even iHeartRadio, I want to welcome you and remind you that this is a video broadcast. You can find us on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Trauma Recovery University TV, or we have our very own Roku TV channel. So if you have a Roku device or you have a Roku television, all you have to do is search for Trauma Recovery University, and you'll be given access to our entire library of episodes. And as a thank you for being one of our loyal listeners, viewers, subscribers, or just an awesome survivor, we want to give you complimentary access to tonight's downloadable PDF resource that matches up with this topic. You can get access to that resource at traumarecoveryuniversity.com and click on the tab that says Downloadables. You'll be asked for your email address and given immediate access to our entire library of downloadable resources. We hope that our library of resources is of comfort to you and is giving you knowledge and just comfort in knowing that you're not alone in this recovery journey. So without further ado, I'm going to hand this over to Bobby Parrish, and we're going to issue a big fat trigger warning, talk about No More Shame November, our anthology, and all kinds of other fun stuff. Take it away, Bobby.
Hi, everybody. I'm so glad that you're here tonight joining us. We know that your time is precious, and the fact that you spend some with us makes us feel very honored. So thank you. It is No More Shame November. Yay! That's a month when we do a lot of advocacy and awareness work for childhood abuse survivors. And so if you want to, you can go join us by going to the website nomoreshameproject.com, and if you see a button there that says Pinnables, you can open it up and you can find a graphic there that is a graphic that Athena made that you can use as your avatar picture, or you can use it as a blog button for the month. And we're just trying to put together things like blog posts, a blog roundup, all sorts of things for you. If you have a blog where you write about childhood sexual abuse or childhood abuse, send it in to us at nomoreshameproject@gmail.com, and we will put it up on the website. We want to hear from you, and we want to share your stories. As a reminder, tonight's broadcast does need a trigger warning because we are talking about childhood abuse. So please use excellent self-care while you're watching the video. For some reason, things that you can both see and hear can be very triggering, much more triggering than just talking about something, or much more triggering than attending one of our Twitter chats. So we just want to remind you of that and encourage you. If you feel triggered, it's okay to stop watching. It's okay to pause it or stop it and walk away. All of our videos are uploaded to YouTube within about an hour to an hour and a half after our broadcast, so you can come back and watch it at any time. There's no reason to watch while you're distressed. If you are in a crisis state, either from watching one of the videos or just because of your abuse and what you're going through, we want to encourage you to reach out to RAIN, which is the Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network, and they are at 1-800-656-HOPE. And if you would rather use a chat feature, they have a crisis chat feature on their website, and that is at rain.org. If you are in the UK, you can use the crisis chat feature, but you can't call the toll-free number. There we encourage you to reach out to the Samaritans. And they have an email support where you can write Joe at Samaritans. Is it Samaritans.org? What is the...
It is.
Okay.
It's Joe, J-O, at Samaritans.org. That's the email address that you can reach for any type of crisis that you might be in that is either rape, abuse, or incest related.
Okay, great. So we also have support groups and Twitter chats. We'll talk about those at the end of the hour. But just know that if you're a survivor, you're not alone. We have a lot of resources, and we encourage you to get plugged in to the resources that we have. And there we go. Let's talk about coping with new memories.
Yes, this was quite the loaded topic this morning. Well, like it always is, it's never an easy topic. Hello. That's why we're all in recovery. I want to share briefly that I'm actually speaking to groups of survivors 5 times this week in the state of Florida, and I'm speaking twice in Alabama, and then I'm headed to Texas so Bobby and I can have our annual meeting and plan the entire year 2016. But the people I spoke with tonight are a group of people who are all in recovery. There were dozens of people. There were maybe almost 100 people, between 50 and 100 people. It was a full room. So, but everybody's in recovery for something. And I got up and shared for about 30 minutes about the work I'm doing with survivors and what it is that I'm in recovery for, which is childhood sexual abuse, all kinds of different child abuse, childhood trafficking, lots of really, really heavy topics, you guys. And I was sharing with them tonight that I have new memories all the time. I'll have new memories as part of a dream. I'll dream about something and I'll wake up and go, was that real? Wait a second. And then the dream will remind me of something, which will remind me of something else, which will remind me. And then I'll just be like sort of spiraling. And I was sharing with them very transparently that when I actually had the memories of being, when I found out that I was actually trafficked, like what is that? Traffic, like I thought that was like when people smuggle you in containers into places, and you know, I didn't realize that it was like something that could happen to me. I knew that there was a lot of crazy stuff, but I didn't realize I was trafficked. Anyway, I was sharing with them very transparently that I wanted to die. I thought, well, I can surely deal with all of the other types of abuse I've been through, but to actually really realize that I was like lent out and trafficked and by my family, and like, I mean, no one ever used that word trafficked. So anyway, I just shared with them very transparently, like Bobby and I were sharing with you a couple weeks ago. I really did just want to die. I mean, I didn't have a suicide plan, but I was really hopeless. I was really at that point where I was just like, this is too much. I can deal with so much other stuff, but I don't think I can deal with this. So we want to encourage you, if you're in that spot, whatever area of recovery you're in right now, if you're in the very beginning stages of your recovery, if you're just Googling your abuse for the very first time and you stumbled across our video, if it's 3 in the morning, you're not alone. And if you're feeling super, super helpless and like you just want to give up, you're not alone. And I'm really glad I didn't give up. And I'm glad that I'm here with you guys because you're my family. So, new memories are really, really scary, Bobby. And they come in all shapes and sizes. They hit you upside the head. They punch you in the solar plexus. They seep in through the cracks. They sort of sneak in and then they sort of trick us. Like, is that a real memory? Or as some people call it, a made up memory, a false memory? It's such a loaded topic, right, Bobby?
Yeah, our brains are mysterious things, and they, when we encounter things, when we're being subjected to our abuse, when things happen, our brain makes this split-second decision on whether or not to allow that memory to be stored in our conscious long-term memory or whether it's going to bury it. Because it doesn't think that we can cope or survive remembering that event. And it's a completely survival protective mechanism, instinctual. I mean, we're talking about split second decision-making skills in there in that brain of deciding which way to route that memory. And I think of it a little bit like a train coming down the tracks approaching that junction. And your brain has literally a nanosecond to go left or right and decide what it's going to do. And it's not to trick us. It's not to subject us to any harm. It's to protect us. And that's why our brain does that. But the tricky part is then when our brain decides that we're ready to have those memories back. And whether or not we might agree that we're ready. So let's look at the one page, and we're going to talk about repressed memories, why that happens, how they become live and conscious again for us, and how we can cope with having new memories. But if you have them, if they're just sporadic, or sometimes they come all in one big chunk, know that there's no standard way that we recover new memories. There's not a formula or a pattern. However it is happening for you is for some reason the way that your brain has decided is best. But there's no right or wrong, and you're not doing anything wrong that causes these to come up. It's just that control room up there trying to make the best executive decisions that they can. So
I have a question about that, Bobby.
hit me.
So today during chat, there was a gal that popped in. I had never met her before, and she said that she's never had any new memories. That she's always had the same memories for 30 years. There haven't been any new ones.
Yes.
And gosh, I know that we should never compare ourselves to anybody. That's like the quickest way to be frustrated with ourselves and wish that we were farther along in our recovery. But I need to confess and be transparent with you guys. I found myself envying her. I was so envious at that moment. I was like, wow, I wish that I had all the same memories for 30 years and that I didn't have any new ones.
Yeah.
Oh, how I wish that, Bobby. I was envious. I had to like stop myself and go, hello, Athena, like you're in your own recovery. You are not this other girl. Like give yourself a break. Hello, hello. But I just need to confess to you guys that I was very envious and wish that I had all the same memories for 30 years. Bobby?
Well, I think that's interesting because my mind immediately went to the other side of the coin, which was, wow, how rough that must be that she has always had the memories of her childhood abuse. Growing up was hard enough. A lot of us, our childhood sexual abuse was just one piece of a huge pie of dysfunction. And my hands were full as it was. Always, dealing with everything that I had. I always knew I always had some memories of my abuse, but I had never fully admitted it to myself, and I didn't have enough memories to connect the puzzle pieces. I don't know how I would have coped if my brain had chosen to not hide any of the memories. So I think it's interesting, because the other side of the coin for me is, but then that means she's had to cope with knowing everything for always.
Yeah.
And now maybe that's not true. I mean, maybe what she said was, and she didn't tweet again, she just sent that one tweet, but maybe what she meant was, I only have like 5 really fuzzy memories of my abuse, and I've never gotten any more. If that's the case, yes, sign me up. You know, I
Right.
want that.
Right. Yeah. I know that it's human nature to compare ourselves to others, and we really shouldn't,
Yes.
because it is the quickest route to discontentment. But I just found myself in that moment going, oh, if only, you know?
Yes. And what a testament to how our brains are all individual machines. You
Yeah.
know, I think this morning we had so many different people talking about the way they have, how much their brains did consciously remember, how much they withheld when they got some of their memories, how they still have so many yet that they think to get, that you can't help but see the huge variety in the way that people's brains have helped them to cope with this whole ugly morass of abuse. And when you think about it, you think, this is a child. A child. No wonder our brain hides some of those memories. How in the world is a child? I mean, we were talking, like you said, we were talking this morning in chat about remembering, having a full memory and then having to come to terms with the fact. This morning in chat, someone was saying, how do you come to terms with the fact that your mother did such horrific things to you? And that is hard. That is really hard to come to terms with. That's like a core issue of dealing with our abuse, is how does someone treat an innocent child? And if it's your parent, an innocent child who you were supposed to protect and love in such a horrific manner, how do you wrap your head around that? So think about, here we are as adults struggling with that. And think of how much harder it is for a child to wrap their mind around, here is my mother or father who is supposed to be protecting me, my aunt, my uncle, my grandmother, my grandfather, my sibling, and they're doing these horrible things to me. To me, it puts it all into perspective, and it explains why our brain chooses to hide some things. Because if you're the child, if you're 4 or 5 years old and you can't depend on your parent to keep you safe, what a horrific existence that must be, you know?
It was. It really was, actually.
Yeah.
Turns out it was. It was really horrible. But I mean, at that point, you live moment to moment. I mean, you don't really know, like at age 4 or 5, wow, my life is really difficult right now. This is really horrible. I mean, really, who would do these things? Like at the time, you're just living from moment to moment. You're really just fighting for survival. You're begging this family member or that family member, please don't make me go back. Please don't make me go back. And then they always make you go back. Or you play with your dolls, or you hide, or you stay gone, or there are different coping strategies that we had, obviously, that were age appropriate coping strategies or not age appropriate. But yeah, the whole big pile of crud, Bobby, is just that. It's just a big pile. And I shared spaghetti and baklava tonight with our group, about when we talk about our abuse and how it's just so messy and slippery and difficult to discern. You can't pick out one from the other. Picking out one from the other is just such a mess.
It is. It is such a mess. And we talked about that this morning in terms of, it's a natural human desire to want to figure out why that happened. Why? what happened that our parents abused us? What happened that our parents allowed someone to abuse us? What happened? Why?
What's
And
wrong?
yet,
What's wrong with me?
right, was it my fault? Because that's where our mind automatically goes, is that it must have been our fault. And so when you get those memories, it's getting those puzzle pieces that we can then start, to put together.
Mm-hmm.
But until then, until you have enough puzzle pieces, and you don't have to get every puzzle piece back to figure it out, but you have to get enough to figure out what the puzzle looks like. And, that's a whole nother layer of stuff wrapped up in recovering memories, is that, okay, I need more information, need more input. What's that from? Need input.
Dang it.
For some reason, I'm thinking it was what was that movie with, about the robot?
Danger Will Robinson?
And the girl from Breakfast Club.
Oh, Molly Ringwald?
No.
Ali Sheedy?
Yeah, Ali Sheedy and the robot, and they were in, it was shot in Astoria, Oregon. Yeah, okay, well. Anyway, I think she had a robot that kept saying more input, need more input. Okay.
I know what you're talking about, and it was made in the 80s, and I cannot think of the name of the movie.
Yeah, and they made like 2 sequels to it or something.
Yep, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
And she had a food truck.
She did!
She had a food truck before food trucks were cool.
Yep.
All right, there we go. Pop culture for the evening. Somebody
right?
Tweet us in the name of that movie.
Yes, please.
Okay.
We're gonna have so many comments on YouTube.
Okay, so here we go. Our brains are marvelously self-protective. They are. And they are just instinctually programmed to do what's necessary to protect us during situations that it finds threatening. For example, if you're walking along and you see a guy coming up to you and he's got a gun and he's a stranger, your brain is going to automatically kick in chemicals that tell your body to fight or flight. Get ready, that's it, we need to flee, or get ready to fight and defend yourself. And we don't have to tell our brain to do that. Our brain does that split-second analysis of the situation, and boom, out go the chemicals. But for children, when they're being abused, fighting or fleeing is not always possible. One, because maybe you don't know what's going on isn't right.
We got a tweet. Hazel, you saved the night. You win. You win the prize. Johnny 5 is alive. Short circuit.
Short circuit. That was it.
Sorry, I didn't interrupt you, but that was very important.
That's it. Very good, Hazel. Ding, 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 ding. When you're a child and your abuser is an adult, okay, so they're probably infinitely bigger than you and stronger than you. And 2, they might be your parent or your grandfather, grandmother, sibling, someone who you are not used to interpreting as a danger. You're not going to fight back. And you're probably also not going to try and flee. And if you did try and flee, is your abuser going to let you flee? Probably not.
Nope.
If you do fight back once and your abuser beats the living tar out of you for trying to do that, are you going to try it again? No, you're not. So your brain is left with limited capabilities to help you cope. And one of the primary ways that your brain, in those instances when fight or flight does not work, then one of the ways it helps you to cope is by repressing that memory and saying, okay, if we can't get away from it, then we're going to forget it. But unfortunately, it never forgets it. They don't, it's not like they vaporize into thin air. They go back into a storage vault that may or may not be opened at some point in your life.
Not fun. Not fun.
No. How or why our brain chooses what memories to repress is unknown. I mean, I wish I could tell you there was some kind of like Google algorithm for, why our brain chooses to repress this memory, but not that one. I don't know.
I wish.
Um,
Oh, how I wish.
and like we were talking about earlier, some survivors have always had all their memories, and none of them were ever repressed. For others, this morning, people in chat, many people brought it up, said, I have no memory of my life before age 14. I have no memory of my life before 7. That is not uncommon. But most of us are somewhere in the middle, in the fuzzy middle of, I have all my memories, I had some of my memories, and as we went on in life, we got more pieces to the puzzle. Some of us got a whole box dumped off us at once, and some of us have had a sporadic drip, drip, drip as time goes on. When and if our memories will return is not such a mystery. Some of us get memories when we finally move away from our abuser and our brain determines us to be safe. This is what happened to me. I got married. I moved about 4 or 5 hours away from my abuser, and I got a job. So I had a good job. My husband was in law school, and my brain decided, hey ho, looky here, she's doing well. Let's dump the memories on her, without understanding that getting those memories would then flip me to the other side of the coin, which would be doing not well.
Right.
And so all the good things went to heck in a handbasket. So that kind of failed in my brain's respect. I still think that was a bad decision on its part, but it's not like I can go back and change that. But I have heard that time and time again from survivors, that when they move away from their abuser, when they get to a place where they feel quote unquote safe, that is when their brain chooses to dump memories. And I know you had a similar experience, Athena.
I did. When I decided to move to Maui, the company I worked for, my territory was in Hawaii, and I moved away from where I was raised and where my family members lived, where my primary abuser lived. I moved to an island in the middle of the ocean, and I was safe for the first time in my life, and whoom, I got whacked upside the head with all kinds of memories. I mean, I I had a couple of memories prior to that, like 6 years prior, because a family member of mine was abused and I wanted to make sure that he got the care he needed, but nothing like when I moved to Maui, like thousands and thousands of miles away from any family. I was literally here away. And I didn't know that my family was all completely dysfunctional. I really didn't, you guys. I mean, it would be great if I knew the whole time, but I just didn't. I did not know. I did not know that the majority of my family was abusive or dysfunctional or mentally ill or predatory. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I mean, looking back, it's like, hello, how did you not know? But I just didn't know. Like,
That's weird. That was the environment we were raised in.
it's all I knew, you guys.
Right.
That those are the only parents I knew. It was the only family, the only aunts, uncles, cousins. I knew instinctively that the abuse wasn't right, but I honestly thought, you guys, that I must have done something to deserve some of
Right.
it.
Right.
I really thought I deserved some of it and that I must have done something wrong. I really did. And I'm not saying that I didn't do anything wrong my whole life and I'm perfect. Yay, I'm perfect. No, that's not what I mean. But no one deserves to
Right.
be abused
Right.
or used as a laborer or lent out or molested or punched or have their hair pulled or beaten or choked, or I mean, no one deserves that kind of treatment. No one. So yeah.
Sarah wants to know if there's a way to stop the memories from coming.
Ooh, well, I think if we can maybe head them off at the pass at some point. I don't think that we can stop them from coming, but we can recognize them quicker and become masters at self-soothing and grounding, and it makes the punch to the solar plexus hurt a little bit less. What do you think, Bobby?
I agree. We can't, I don't know of a way to stop them from coming.
No.
But I do know how to cope with them when they come. I wish I knew a way to stop them from coming, but unfortunately that's a part of the brain that I don't have any control over. And if somebody else, if you're watching this video and you have control over that, I want to know how. So just write it down in the comments.
Yeah.
And share your magic.
Yeah. If you know of a way to stop new memories from child abuse from occurring, I want to throw it out there. It needs to be a healthy way and not like drugs or something that's going to harm us or harm our DNA or harm our brains or harm our bodies. Like something that is healthy, a healthy way to stop the memories from coming. If you have the answer to that, please share your wisdom. But I don't think there's a way to stop them, Sarah. I wish there was. But
Yeah.
What do you think about us becoming masters at self-soothing and grounding, Bobby? Don't you think that helps?
Absolutely.
If we get punched in the solar plexus enough and we get the wind knocked out of us enough, it doesn't mean that the wind doesn't ever get knocked out of us, but we're prepared, we're braced, we're not like hypervigilant braced, but we work our way through the pain quicker. And I feel like as we become better at self-care and grounding and self-soothing and prayer and meditation and being fully present, I feel like that helps a lot, like a lot.
Well, yeah. I see it as, it's interesting. I have a client who has a bad back. Okay, so the first 3 or 4 times that her back went out, she struggled horribly, pain for days and days, weeks, had to be in a wheelchair, horrific stuff. But over time, she learned the best ways to deal with her back pain. Now her back still goes out, not as often as it used to, because she's done some exercises to strengthen the muscles that run alongside her spinal column and in her core to support her back. But now when her back goes out, she knows exactly what she needs to do. She does it, and within 3 or 4 days, she's back on her feet. So that's kind of the way that I look at it in terms of recovered memories, is that we may not necessarily know how to stop them, but we can learn how to cope with them better. Now, that doesn't mean that if you have been at this for 2 decades and you get a new memory that knocks you flat on your blank, there you go, flat on your hiney, that you've done something wrong. I'm not saying that. I am absolutely positively not saying that.
Ooh.
What I'm saying...
Sorry. Hazel says, kind of like how buildings in earthquake zones are built for earthquakes, like retrofitting, we have to upgrade our foundations.
Yes,
I think that's
exactly
a great analogy, Hazel. Upgrade our foundation. For me, my foundation is knowing my identity, who God says I am, and not who I think I am. When I look in the mirror, I see a flawed, ridiculous, overweight, need to wear this makeup, need to fix your hair, need to do this, need to do that. What's wrong with your knees? What's wrong with your toes? You shouldn't bite your fingernails. I see nothing but flaws, and it's overwhelming. But if we, that's my foundation. That's my retrofitting. What do you think, Bobby? What is your foundation? What is your retrofitting that you can upgrade or be more prepared for when they come?
For me, it has a lot to do with not defining myself by my emotions. So if I'm hit with a memory that knocks me on the ground, that makes me feel ashamed, I remind myself that I am, just because I feel that I am not. Just because I feel bad, I am not bad. And learning to separate those. And I think for me too, it has a lot to do with not fighting. Just letting it flow, because I know through time and through my experience with getting new memories is that they will come, it will be hard for a little bit, and then it will go.
Yeah.
It never completely goes, but it gets better. But when I try and hold it there and wrestle with it and beat it unconscious and smack it, I'm only prolonging the pain.
For me, it's why. I ask so many times, why, why, but how, really, 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 why? That, like,
Yeah.
that's my version of what you just said. Like when you fight it and you punch it and you just like try to reason with it, and
Yeah.
you know, I ask the word why way too much.
Yeah.
But why?
I think,
I don't understand. What did I do? What did I do? What did I do? I always want to make it about me.
yeah. And the reality is that it's not about us, it's about our abuser.
It's so
We
hard.
It is. That's a really hard, because when we were children, we were, especially if we were abused over a long period of time, and especially when it encompassed those crucial developmental years of 3 to 6 years old, self-blame becomes hardwired into our brain. And so we are programmed, literally, not just groomed, but programmed, hardwired into our head to feel self-blame. And so,
Where anything else feels awkward.
yeah, 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 blaming ourselves, we know that. Blaming someone else, I'd rather set my head on fire.
Yeah.
Um, okay, let's talk about this last paragraph of information, because I think this is important. Some of us get, and determined to be safe. Okay, sometimes we will get memories as well when they are triggered by life events, like Athena was talking about earlier, just after we started the broadcast. Sometimes you're sitting there watching a movie, and all of a sudden a scene comes up there that is like deja vu. And your brain decides, oh, this is a really good time. Let's drop a bunch of memories. Or you have an interaction in the grocery store with someone who looks like your abuser or one of your abusers. Those are times that our brain will drop memories. Last week we talked about pregnancy. Sometimes when your child is born, sometimes when your child reaches the age that you were when you were abused, all of those times, it's kind of like some memories our brain just wraps all up into a little tiny ball and throws into this huge vault in the very, very back bottom rear of our brain, and it's never coming out. Sometimes our brain balls up the memory and then ties a little string to it. And the string stays kind of in the eensy fringes of our consciousness, but the memory goes back. And when we have an experience that tugs on that string, boom, it pulls the memory out. So if you need something to think about it, to try and put that in perspective for you about what it's like, that's what it's like. Sometimes we have the string that will give us the memory, and sometimes it's just gone. And we're not getting it back, which probably in that instance is probably a good thing. My personal opinion.
No, definitely. Simi was saying she only ever remembered a bad memory once. And I don't know if I understand. I asked her to expand on that. It helps her to not, it helps her to know the number of people who love and care for her, and we all agreed that was it definitely helps just to remember the number of people that love and care for us.
Yes.
But I don't know if I understand about having the bad memory only once. Like, I wanted her to expand on that.
I know this morning in chat, Simi talked about one time she got a memory when you were in class or in school. Simi, was that right? And before that, you always had all your memories, or you have no memories? I can't remember which of those two. So tweet us back and let us know.
Yeah, tweet us back. I would love, that's fascinating to me. That is so fascinating, that to only have one bad memory, or to only have a bad memory one time. Like, yeah, I would love to know more about that. So, are we moving to our tips and strategies?
We are moving on. I'm watching the clock. To cope with new memories and try these tips and strategies. Okay, so we talk to you guys a lot about a toolkit. It's just an analogy. So develop a mental toolkit for strategies and skills for grounding, distracting, and self-soothing. Okay? Grounding are those skills that engage our five senses, that take us out of our brain, back into our bodies, back into the real world. Okay? Because when we have flashbacks, when we have memories, we tend to retreat inside our brain and we just play those memories on a loop. Or we do what Athena and I talked about. Why? What's going on? What happened? And I want to wrestle with it. I want to fight with it. What we need to do is engage our five senses. So touch something rough with your hands, run your hand under the cold water, breathe some lavender oil, go outside, feel the breeze on your face. Whatever you need to do to get yourself out of your head and back into the real world. And then distracting. You know what, you guys? Distraction works with toddlers like amazing. And it works with our brains too when we're triggered. So sometimes the best thing we can do is distract ourselves away from the memory. And that's if you want to read a book, if you want to go for a walk, if you want to watch a funny, silly movie, something that will engage you and distract you away from sitting there and ruminating on the memory. And then self-soothing. Self-soothing is all about calming down and soothing those emotions that rose up crazy-like when you got the new memory. Okay? And these are things like cuddling up with a warm, soft blanket, a cup of mint tea, taking a warm bubble bath, calling a friend, reading a particular book that is always soothing to you, listening to music. All of these things are what are called self-soothing strategies. And all of these, grounding, distracting, self-soothing, are all skills that we should have learned as a child. But we didn't get to learn them because we were pretty much, surrounded by a dysfunctional environment. And we coped the best we could with extreme strategies. And so we have to learn grounding, distracting, and self-soothing as an adult and teach it to ourselves.
Hazel says she hearts distraction. Me too.
Yes. Yeah. You know what? And people, and I'm not talking about, you don't want to think it anymore, so you sit down and pound down 5 margaritas. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about something that is, healthy for you to do, that just gets your minds and thoughts off of the abuse. That is where, though, that dysfunctional behavior that we develop, like overeating, drinking, doing drugs, having sex with strangers, that is a distracting behavior. It's just not a healthy one. But that's what it is. That's what it is.
Simi clarified. Can I share with you what she clarified?
Absolutely. Hit me.
Awesome. Okay, so she was molested on 2 separate occasions on 2 successive evenings, and she was in the school library. She had no memories at all, and then she was in the school library, and she was reading an article or reading something talking about how your children are usually molested by someone they know, and boom, the memory came.
Okay.
Just like that. Boom.
That makes sense then.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Okay.
And Sarah says she overplays the memories to make sense of them. Erg. Yeah. I know, me too, Sarah. I do the why, and it is so difficult. And Hazel does it too. Hazel says she does too. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And the next one is important. Sometimes new memories can cause strong emotions. Have some skills to cope with these developed ahead of time. Set yourself up for success. We did a video on coping with overwhelming emotions, so go back and take a look at that. But it's important that you have those skills ahead of time in a toolkit, just like your grounding, distracting, and self-soothing skills. Because when you're in that moment, when the new memory has hit you and you are, struck upside the head and knocked senseless, that is not the time that we can usually sit down and come up with some good problem-solving strategies.
No, because you're already triggered and you're not in your best You're not in your best mindset
Well,
to.
your executive functioning is
I was
gone.
just going to say that. Jinx. Yes. Your executive functioning, when you are triggered and you are in the middle of having these memories, any memories that may have been repressed, then all of a sudden, all you're thinking about are these memories. You're so distracted by the memories that your executive functioning uh, is not working properly. And so how are you supposed to make excellent decisions that are good long-term decisions or healthy decisions that are for best for you or for your family or for your recovery or for anything if your executive functioning isn't functioning, right?
Yep.
Right.
Exactly. So that's why we always preach to y'all about needing to have this stuff set up ahead of time.
Hazel says distraction, not destruction.
Yes.
Exactly.
And like I know that sometimes at chat, I think it's both Simi and Jack that have what they call calming boxes, which are literally boxes of things that help them to calm themselves. And that is a really cool strategy because that is something real and tangible as opposed to what we're talking about here, which is kind of a toolkit inside your head. But if you have to sit down and make a list of 5 things to do when I feel triggered, 5 things to do when I have a new memory to help myself get back to a good place, then do that and slap it up on the fridge or slap it up on the mirror in your bathroom or put it in the top drawer of your bureau, someplace where you know where it is and you can reach for it when you need it.
I think Grace has a calming box now too, and I think they've been adding different things like tea or lavender or a teddy bear or something like that. Bobby, I know we need to move on because we're coming close on time, but I have some tweets coming in. I have a tweet from Dominique. Which Dominique, I don't know if I welcomed you into the group. I think I got a message from you, and I don't think I welcomed you. And Bobby, did you welcome Dominique into the group yet?
I did not.
Okay, accept our apologies, Dominique. She wants to know, is it repression if you have always had a memory, but you were in denial about its significance and you had dreams about the location? That happens to me, Dominique. That happens to me. I've actually been in denial about a lot of my abuse, and I've been having a lot of dreams lately. So, Bobby, you take that.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to go on to the next bullet point and wrap those two together. Okay?
Perfect.
So recognize it is normal to regard new memories with doubt or questioning. It can be painful to believe that someone treated us in such a horrible way. So if you've always had the memory or you have a new memory when you're looking at it going, I don't really think that's abuse, or that's got to be a false memory. That can't possibly be true. If you've always had the memory, you just didn't understand what it meant, technically we don't call that a repressed memory. But the significance of it was certainly something that you never understood until you had the context to put it into. You knew what it meant. And Hazel was talking earlier about, I had these memories, but I had no idea they were abuse. And that is so common.
Yes.
We had no idea that some of the things that eventually you'll come to understand that the horrific things that happen, like you being, beaten or raped, were significant abuse. But because we're so used to dealing...
It was only once, Bobby. It was only once. I mean, come on. Yeah.
But because we're so used to dealing with that horrible stuff, we don't usually recognize that the constant verbal berating, the emotional tearing down, were also abusive. Or we didn't understand. Who would have told us when we were growing up that your brother's not supposed to touch you that way?
He's just a boy, Bobby. He's just a normal red-blooded boy.
Yeah, just stay away from your brother. Come on now. Have a brain.
Yeah.
And it is so normal for us not to understand, not to get it, not be able to put all the puzzle pieces together until we have more memories and more education about trauma and what it is and what it means. And I think that's one of the things that people coming to our Twitter chats, people coming to these videos and watching these videos, it gives them a clarity, which gives them the context, okay? It gives them the surrounding information that finally everything makes sense. And that is absolutely positively awesome. I'm all for something that helps us to make sense.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we got an email from someone. In fact, it may have been Dominique that's tweeting right now. We had an email that said, I just watched your video on hygiene, personal hygiene. And I think she said her mouth dropped open, her jaw dropped open. She says, I did not know that this was something that anybody else in the whole world struggled with. And
Yeah.
I think she said something like it was like 90% of her abuse, or a high percentage of her abuse, was all surrounding bathroom or grooming,
Right.
not grooming, but, hygiene.
Right.
But never put the pieces together until she saw the video. So, I mean, these videos, if they are nothing else for any of you guys, I know for Bobby and myself, these are just as helpful for us as they are for you guys. We never, ever arrive. And we love showing up every week and being transparent with you and just sharing our recovery journey with you so that you can walk through your recovery journey with us by the time you watch this video. Like, we're all doing this together.
Yes.
Yes.
So if you have new memories and you doubt them, that doesn't mean they're false. It just means that it is really, 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 really hard to wrap your brain around some of the things that you remember. And we were raised with doubting ourselves because we were gaslit, we were manipulated, and we were told on a constant basis that our interpretation of events was not what happened. And I say it that way because that's exactly the way I remember it being said to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes. If you are having a lot of new memories and feel overwhelmed, please notify your therapist or a safe person so they can help you cope. It is very hard to cope. Like I said, when your brain takes that big old box of memories and dumps them on top of your head and you're having a lot of them at one time, it is hard. I don't want to minimize it. It is hard. And those are the times that you really need to reach out and get help. If you don't currently have a therapist, contact RAIN or the Samaritans in the UK. They can help you find one. So that is it. That is the end of the one page.
That is the end.
And as a reminder, if you are just tuning in late and you don't know where those are, we have a whole library of them. They are on the nomoreshameproject.com. There's a tab that says downloadables. Just click on that and it will take you to all of them, and they are in reverse date order. So the newest are at the bottom and the oldest are at the top. So just scroll.
On the new website, I can do it the opposite way, Bobby.
Okay.
Yeah, that way the newest ones will be right at the top. So I think that would make it a lot easier for everyone, if I'm not mistaken. That way we can just say, just click on downloadables. You'll be given immediate access, and then the first one they see, hopefully towards the top will be that topic, unless they're watching an old video. But yeah. I think it helps that they're all on one page. I've had several emails come through that say how helpful it is that all of the topics are all on the same page, and all they have to do is just search whatever topic that they're looking for. So,
well, it's not a horrible problem to have when you have so much content. It's hard to search through it.
Right, definitely.
No?
So this is the portion of our broadcast when we are going to be doing our contact information / like a little bit of a just wrap it up announcements. So that's the end of our content for this evening, you guys. As always, you are the most important part of this broadcast. You're the reason we show up every single week. And I know that we are just a little bit over time right now. We're right at just under 60 minutes on our broadcast. So we appreciate your time. We value your time. We love that you have spent an hour of your week with us. We always love to bring you everything you need for healthy, informed trauma recovery. And we are going to pull up our contact information right now and show you ways that you can connect with our safe community and ways that you can connect with us online, and the different Twitter chats we have every single week, along with this live Q&A broadcast on Mondays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. So, Bobby, should we do screen shares?
Yes, I am almost ready here. I was just, Jack was commenting about that, oh, boys will be boys stuff that we were talking about.
He knows I was being facetious and doing that.
Oh, no. He wasn't.
Okay.
He wasn't blaming anybody. I was just saying, oh, yeah, that's a toxic one.
It is a toxic one. And how many times are we told that? How many times are we told, like, oh, well, you should have known not to get next to Uncle so-and-so when he's had a couple of beers? I mean, come on. What were you thinking?
Right,
exactly. As though it's okay that he's being abusive because he's had a couple of beers. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Or as if it's okay to make a child responsible for an adult's behavior.
Oh, exactly. But most of us, Bobby, were from birth, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Okay. Ways to join our safe community. We have 3 Twitter chats a week. The first one is on Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. in the UK. The hashtag for that is CSAQT, which is Child Sexual Abuse Question Time. And then the second one is where you are right now, where we have an interactive video and Twitter chat. The hashtag for that is No More Shame, and that is Monday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific time and 2 a.m. Tuesday morning in the UK. And then our final Twitter chat for the week is on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, again, 2 a.m. for Wednesday in the UK, and that hashtag is Sex Abuse Chat. You have to use the hashtag for us to see it. Otherwise, it does float off into the atmosphere and maybe we can catch it later, but we don't always see them if you don't include the hashtag. We do use the hashtag 24/7 to communicate with each other, so keep a lookout for that as well. However, do be aware that other people use that hashtag and it's not always user-friendly. If you would like to join, we have multiple support groups on Facebook. They are secret and private, and we would encourage you, if you would like to let us know you'd like to join one. And there's a process for that. 4 easy steps, as Athena says. Like Trauma Recovery University page, friend us, friend both of us, send both of us friend requests. We would absolutely love to be friends with you. And then send us a private message that says, I'd like to heal in a safe community, and we will help you get plugged into one of the groups. If you don't friend us, but you send us a message, it ends up in our other folder, which we don't check on a frequent basis, and doesn't pop up on our reminders at all either. So please friend us and then send us a message. Yeah. And we will help you get plugged in one of our support groups. If we ask you a few questions first of hand, because we don't know you, because we haven't interacted with you on Twitter or Facebook yet, please don't be offended. We're doing our best not to allow any individuals into our support groups who would be damaging to any of our other members. So we'd ask that you please don't take it personally. It's not a jab against you if we ask you some questions. It's just an effort to keep our peeps safe, which is a high priority for us.
Well, yeah. Well, and you guys, your safety in our groups and otherwise is our top priority. So if there's a way that Bobby and I can just navigate through the vetting process by asking a few questions to anyone that wants to be a part of the secret safe groups. I had someone approach me tonight here in Stuart, Florida, near West Palm Beach, and she's getting ready to be a nurse practitioner, and she wants to know how she can be involved in survivors' lives or whatever, and can that interact. And I'm sharing with her about Bobby. You know, Bobby was a therapist for how many years, and I was a business coach. I mean, God can use anything. There's not one There's not one, what is it, occupation that cannot overlap with survivors, you guys. You can help survivors no matter what you're doing.
Yep, exactly.
All walks of life.
Yep. Okay, let's look at our contact information here. Quick. If you're trying to reach us, please be patient with us. We are doing the best that we can to get back to people within 48 hours. If we don't, please, please don't be upset. There are just two of us. We are working to get other people trained, but we're just doing our best. So please be patient with us. I'm BobbyLParish@gmail.com. Athena is Athena Moberg speaking at gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have our joint account, which is No More Shame Project at gmail.com. You can connect with us on Twitter. I am Bobby L. Parrish. Athena is Athena Moberg. And then we have Trauma Recovery University, which is Trauma Recovery U. You can also find us on Facebook. Our Facebook business page is Trauma Recovery University. My business page is Bobby Parrish Coaching and Consulting. Athena, her business page is Athena Moberg Speaking, and then we both have personal pages. Mine is Bobby Parrish, and hers is Dawn Athena Moberg. You can find us on YouTube, Trauma Recovery University, Roku TV, Trauma Recovery University, and Google Plus, Trauma Recovery University. You can 24/7 find us at bit.ly/Trauma Recovery University. That's where you can watch the videos every Monday evening, and you can access information and resources there also at any time.
Yes.
Dum.
I think that does it, Bobby. I think we
So too.
I think we nailed it right on 60 minutes tonight, if I'm not mistaken. I want to just give a very special welcome to anyone. If you're brand new to our community, brand new, like you're not plugged into any of our secret safe support groups, you don't normally attend any of our Twitter chats because Twitter's just not your bag, then we would just love for you to leave a comment below on YouTube or even on, on Roku. Maybe rate us on Roku if you found us on Roku. We love connecting with you. I do my best to respond to every single email and every single YouTube comment, but I have been known to take weeks to respond sometimes or days. And so I'm just doing my best, you guys. I'm traveling, and so I'm having a little more time here, a little less time there. But we would just want to welcome you. We want to welcome you and tell you that this is a safe place and that you'll never receive any judginess, any judgmentalness from us. It is okay to not be okay. It is perfectly fine to be wherever you're at in your recovery journey, whether it's the beginning of your recovery journey or if you've been in recovery for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. I mean, however far along you are in your recovery journey, or if you're just now beginning it, you are welcome here. We show kindness and compassion and respect to every single member of our community, and we do not tolerate any type of abuse. So if you're looking for an environment that is exactly what I just described, then please send us an email, nomore-shame-project@gmail.com. Let us welcome you into Safe Community and invite you into one of our private secret Facebook groups. Or if you just wanted to send us an email because that's enough and you just needed to get your story out, then awesome. Please be reminded that this is No More Shame November, and we are sharing your stories on the website. We're linking your blogs, we're sharing your stories, and we're talking or thinking about, next year, 2016. We already have some submissions for the annual anthology for that. Also, Bobby, do we have a publishing date for this year's anthology for 2015? Or is it, I know that last year on November 14th, we published Discovering True. This year on November 14th, my book, Yes You Can Overcome from Childhood Sexual Abuse, no matter where you're from. That's going live on November 14th. So it's like 1 year to the day. What is the publishing date for this year's annual anthology, Discovering Together? Oh, you're mute. I'm sorry. You're muted from when you coughed. I'm sorry. Oh, you're mute. Are you gone? Can you not hear me? Uh-oh, we lost Bobby, you guys, and you might not even be able to hear me either. So I'm Athena Mover again. This is Bobby Parrish, and we love to bring you everything that you need for healthy, informed trauma recovery. So until next week, aloha.